What's up everybody, and welcome back to my Let's Play The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD. In the last episode, we found 4 more shards of the Triforce of Courage. And in this episode, we're going to be collecting the final one by taking on a kind of gauntlet of sorts, kind of like the Savage Labyrinth in... Actually, this... Not the Savage Labyrinth, the, well, I guess I spoiled the name. The Cave of Ordeals, but this one's called the Savage Labyrinth here in Wind Waker HD, or really just in Wind Waker in general. It's in the original as well. And this houses the final piece of the Triforce of Courage. Now, I believe that in the original game, the Triforce of the final shard is actually located all the way on the bottom floor. So there's 50 floors, so it was located on floor 50. Now, this dungeon works pretty similar to the way it did in Twilight Princess, even though this game came before that. So I guess they took this idea from the Twilight Princess from this game before putting it in that game, because obviously that game came first. And, oh god, mini bugs, they're gonna spawn instantly, so we better just run through these guys. If not, we're gonna be bombarded with them. So what I really want to do is I want to pull this out here. First I want to climb up here and get the wind to face directly in front of me. So we actually do have to use this for a practical purpose for once. Kind of cool. So let's play the Wind's Requiem and actually get the wind current to move directly this way. Is that really where we want it to go? I mean, I guess this should, yeah, this will work. Because once we get to Grandma's house, we'll be okay. Because actually, we may not be. Actually, we may have to actually just float all the way to that little island up there. I guess if we got to Grandma's house, we could use the hook shot, but I guess it doesn't matter now. We've got the height and the distance, so we're good. And we've got enough magic power as well, so no big deal there either. So now we can just cancel this, and here we are. And so I'm going to make this video work very similarly to, I guess, the final, or when we did the Cave of Ordeals in Twilight Princess. There's 50 floors. It could take me roughly an hour, and each 10 floors, the enemies work a bit different. So I kind of want to explain that before we get started. So, each 10 floors houses a different dungeon. So the first 10 floors is, of course, Dragon Roost Cavern, and then the second floor, the second 10, so 20, or really 11 through 20, with the second 10 is all going to be, you'll get some hearts, rubies, and you'll have a chance to warp every 10 floors as well, except for the 30th and 50th floor. You actually have like items that you can collect. So the first 10 floors, or the first 9 really, because the 10th floor, but we'll include the 10th floor, is Dragon Roost Island. The second 10 are Forest Haven. The third are, of course, enemies that we found in the Tower of the Gods. And then on floor 30 is where we find the final Triforce shard, as well as well, that's actually pretty much it. And the last 31 through 40, or the fourth set of 10 floors, will hold enemies that we found in the Earth Temple, and the final 10 floors will hold the was it the Wind Temple enemies? But mainly just enemies are all going to be the same. They just kind of get harder as it moves on. Pretty much after the 30th floor, by this point we've pretty much seen all the enemies except for like Redeads and one more enemy. There'll just be a bunch of them, and we'll take them on. And it'll be pretty difficult because, like, the final floor, the 49th floor, has got a lot of dark nuts. I'll just say that. And the final floor is the 50th floor. In the HD version, we get a special item, but if you're playing on the original version, that is where you will actually find the final piece of heart. Yeah, pretty difficult, I will say. But yeah, that's where you're going to find that. So, without further ado, I'm going to speed up this footage, and you guys can follow along for the ride. And once we get to every 10th floor, I'll stop and say, alright, we're here at the such and such floor. And I'll have music in the background, and once we get to the 30th floor, we'll pick up the Triforce chart, but we won't leave. I actually want to go all the way to the bottom so we can grab that final item I mean, it won't do us much good now, and it really would have never done us much good anyway, because it's really not that useful, especially now that we're so late game and we do a lot of damage to everything. But and really, it was never that useful if you got it early. But without further ado, let's get started. I'll see you guys on the other side. I should also mention that this is actually floor number 1. That was just kind of a bonus floor to get you started. So now I'll see you guys on the other side. And actually, yeah, before I start, I should also mention that, yeah, none of these enemies drop hearts or anything, so you're going to want to make use of your magic armor and potions that you have and stuff like that. So, and you also want to make sure you almost take no damage as well. So it pretty much works the same way as the Cave of Ordeals. No hearts will drop for all 50 floors. And now, I'll see you guys on the other side. Alrighty guys, here we are at floor number 10. We got a little bit of a break floor. Lots of rubies in case you have the magic armor, arrows and hearts, things like that, so you can refill your heart containers, things like that. And I also do want to mention that I will have a chart in the description of each floor and what it contains. So like for example, the last floor will just say 2x or Moblins 2x, and I'll show you what number the floor. I'll have the whole like chart in the description down below, so if you're going to follow along and you want to know what's on each floor, you can look down there for the chart. And so anyway, back to the time lapse. Alrighty guys, here's our second break floor, and this time I don't really have much of an announcement, but in 10 floors we'll have the final piece of the Triforce. So, back to the time lapse. Alrighty guys, here we are at the 30th floor. Well, you see there's the pedestal where we play the Wind's Requiem. And there's also the little pedestal with the Triforce symbol where the chest will appear. And of course, they won't actually let us move forward until we play that song, I believe. So, might as well hop up here and play it. Yeah, I don't believe this room will actually let you leave until you grab that shard of the Triforce. So, we better just go ahead and do that. Not like we didn't need it anyways. But anyway, guys, here we are. The final piece of the Triforce of Courage. Let's get it, and then we'll be ready to take on Ganon. And just like that, we got a Triforce shard. At last, you found the last shard. Fused together, all 8 form the Triforce of Courage. Yeah, nothing real special about that, to be honest. But to get in the next area, we need to shine a light on this statue to get to the next room. And so, at the 40th floor, I'm not even going to stop and talk to you guys. We're just going to go through the final 20 floors and get all the way to the end, and I'll meet you guys down there at the end. So, back to the time lapse. Alrighty guys, there we go. The 50th floor is done. As you can see, I turned my magic armor on for pretty much those final 10 floors because, man, do they get hectic. And I didn't really feel like dying. I had 2 fairies. I didn't really have to want to waste those on this fight. But anyway, once we jump down here, we'll have reached the final floor. And so, there's a chest here. It contains a pretty cool item. Nothing like super helpful necessarily now that we're so far into the game, but it's a pretty cool item. It is the Hero's Charm. This mystical trinket gives you the ability to see the life forces of your foes. Touch it on the icon screen to equip it. So yeah, if we touch it on the icon screen, which I believe is just... we have to actually scroll over and then press it on the right screen and then turn it off pretty easily, just like that. And once we enter the circle, by the way, we go back up to the surface. And so, by the way, just a reminder, if you're playing on the original version, that will take you, or that will give you the final piece of heart. So yeah, you'll need to do all that for that final life. But we took quite a beating, and we don't even have any arrows left. So let's go ahead and drink Grandma's soup to completely refill our health. I know it'll give us like double damage and stuff, I believe. But I want to go ahead and drink the rest of Grandma's soup because I want to go ahead and refill this bottle. Because since we're here, we can just go in and grab some of Grandma's soup and then be done. So that didn't take quite nearly as long as I thought. It took me about an hour. It really only took me about 30 minutes. But the time lapse, you guys won't even see that, I'm sure. You guys, it'll move much quicker for you guys. Hey, Grandma. Aren't you hungry? Yes, I'd actually like some of your soup, please. And so she gives us elixir soup. So yeah, it replenishes all of our light. And so our attack power also doubles until we take damage. I guess we could have used that inside the Cave of Ordeals, right? And yeah, me and my sister, of course, love the soup. And I actually don't even know if Aril's here. Is she even, like, here at all? Did the pirates ever bring her back? Okay, obviously not. We obviously just never get to see her again. Alright, well, thanks, pirates. Thanks for stealing my sister. Anyway, let's get out of here. And that's pretty much all I had left to do. So now we've got the entire Triforce of Courage, and now we can finally head on back into Hyrule Castle and return back below the sea and restore peace to the land. But we're going to start doing that in the next episode. So if you guys like this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel a lot. And if you want to see more content like this, please do consider subscribing. Once again, guys, my name is Connor. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one.